Hey, welcome back. Today we're talking about how to find investors for real estate development. Are you just getting started with your first real estate development? Or maybe you've got a few under your belt, but either way, you're looking to secure financing to make it happen. This is the biggest key to success with any kind of real estate investing, especially with development deals. So today, we're going to take a deep dive into 7 different tips to help you get the financing and the funding that you need. All right, part of my work is I help real estate investors to raise capital. And over the years, I've worked with a number of developers, and I've seen the most successful ones go through these steps. So the first thing is to make sure that you understand completely what's involved in the development deal itself. How much capital are you going to be needing? What exactly are you going to be doing with this property to get it development ready? Are you going to be taking it from raw land all the way up to actually putting buildings on it? Or are you going to be getting it shovel ready and turning it over to a developer? This makes a huge, huge difference in the amount of capital that you're going to need and the time frame that you need it in. So you need to have a very clear outlook on exactly what it is you're planning to do with the property in the first place. That way you know how much money you need and in what time frame you need the cash. The second step is you have to show people what you're up to. You have to develop a compelling pitch. What does that mean? This means that you need to put together a well-organized, well-structured, ideally a slideshow presentation. I see a lot of people just put together a PDF outline of their development deal and email that to everybody and anybody. I think that's a bad idea to start with. Yes, you want to have something like that to leave people with after you've shown them what it's all about. But I'm going to highly recommend that you put together a PowerPoint presentation, a keynote presentation, whatever, a slideshow presentation that walks people through step by step exactly what it is that you're going to be doing. This is really important that you keep it super simple because you and I and everybody watching this are probably what I call lovingly real estate nerds, right? We're into this stuff. However, the people that you're going to be presenting this deal to or pitching this deal to probably aren't into real estate investing as much as you are. So you need to bring it down to what I call a Reader's Digest level. What's a Reader's Digest level? It's a 13-year-old comprehension level. Back in the old days, Reader's Digest was a magazine written for grown-ups, but written at a 13-year-old comprehension level, not because the readers were dumb, they just wanted to make it super easy to consume. So same idea with your pitch deck. You want to make it super simple for the other person to understand. So please, please, please avoid using too much jargon, too much insider information, so to speak. So NOIs, cap rates, IRRs, all these kind of acronyms that you and I might know, chances are your prospective investors might not know what that means. If you don't explain what it means, they're going to feel dumb and they're probably not going to ask you about it. So keep it super simple. Include a little bit about your background, your power team members, past deals that you've done, and make sure that your presentation is realistic. Don't be pie in the sky. Show people the pros and the cons, the rewards and the risks of doing this kind of investment, and that'll go a long way to gaining that trust and getting people to enroll. The next step is to identify prospective investors. So depending on what stage you're at, that might be friends and family members, coworkers, business associates, people within your own sphere of influence to get started. That's how most of us get started with this. If you've got a few deals under your belt, you might be looking at, heck, even venture capitalists, the big banks, private equity firms, these kind of family offices, these kind of things. But chances are, if you're watching this video, you're probably getting started on your development journey and your journey of raising capital for it. So really, really dial in to your existing network first. The reason is this is the fastest, safest, and easiest capital that you can access. These are the folks that are at least going to hear you out if you've got a good pitch deck and a good reason for them to listen to you. If you're just getting started, you don't have a track record, it's very, very hard to get the attention of the big players, the private equity firms, angel investors, private offices, family offices, that kind of thing. So start with your existing network first. Now this reminds me of a story of some clients of ours, Dave and Karina. And when I first met Dave and Karina, they had self-financed their first couple of deals. They were doing like infill, small little infill developments. And then they're looking to get into bigger deals. And that's when they needed to start bringing on private investors. So we worked with them. We laser focused in on their existing network, friends, family members, coworkers, business associates. And the amazing thing is they had a relatively small list. I think it was 125 people altogether. But by doing this properly, they were able to raise 6 figures very, very quickly within a matter of weeks. And then they got up to the $1 million mark within 8 months. These days, they've really scaled beyond that. They've gone way beyond just doing the infill developments, and they're starting to do much bigger developments. They used to do getting the properties shovel ready. Now they're taking them all the way through. So they're actually getting them ready to put the buildings on. So that's what's possible when you start raising private capital. All right, the fourth step is, especially once you've kind of connected with your existing network, is to expand your network. Get out there and do networking. Now, there's all sorts of different ways that you can do this, but let people know what you're up to. Don't be the best kept secret. So one big tip I have for you there is invest in really good business cards. I might be saying, Dave, business cards, that's pretty basic. Yeah, but most people do it all wrong. They either do it the do-it-yourself business cards, that they print out on their home printer, or they go get some cheap ones printed out at their local print shop. I'm going to recommend that you go upscale. The ones that I recommend for our clients, the ones I have myself, are actually something like $2.75, $3 each. But here's the thing, they make a huge impact when you leave that person one of these business cards. They feel guilty if they throw that away. So get a good card that leaves a wow impression on your prospective investor. This is somewhere where it does make a lot of sense to spend a little bit of money because you want to raise a lot of cash. So have sharp looking business cards for when you're networking. Step number 5 is kind of related to the whole networking thing and the last step, but this is all about seeking out prospective investors at real estate investment groups. Now you might be thinking, well, Dave, why would I go to real estate investment groups to look for investors if everybody there is already investing in real estate and probably looking for their own joint venture partners or their own capital in those groups? Well, yes and no. Here's the big reason why it makes sense to tap into these investor groups, these real estate groups, is because everybody there has already drank the real estate Kool-Aid. Everybody there already knows and believes that real estate is the best way for them to reach their financial goals. But the big difference is it's the 80-20 rule. About 20% of the people that attend these kind of groups are actively doing deals. 80% of the folks are either too scared or too busy or too distracted or whatever, and they're kind of sitting on the sidelines. They might have done 1 or 2 deals in the past, or they're just getting ready to do their first deal, but they haven't pulled the trigger yet. And if they see that you are an active rock and roller kind of real estate investor, and if they feel confident in you and they think that you know your stuff, there's a very, very good chance that they might invest with you as well. These kind of places where real estate investors gather is a great way to make connections and meet prospective investors. So check them out. Last but not least, it's all about getting out there and actually raising the capital. So we've talked about this, focusing on your existing network first. We've talked a little bit about having a really good pitch deck to show people. But the next step is you need to figure out how to get the word out, how to create curiosity. Ideally, how to get people to put up their hand and say, hey, tell me more about your deals. Lots of different ways to do this, but one of the best ways I've seen is by doing what I call constant, consistent, edutaining communication with a monthly electronic newsletter. Every single month, the same day, same time of the month, always consistently send out this newsletter. Doesn't need to be super long, definitely doesn't need to be super newsy. In fact, I encourage you to include a lot of stuff about your personal life, your family, your pastimes, your hobbies, stuff outside of real estate, and then include a little bit about what you're up to with real estate. Make it edutaining, a little bit educational, hopefully a little bit entertaining, and always have a clear call to action. Hey, if you'd like to find out more, if you'd like to connect, please click on the link below, book a call, let's have a conversation. You see what I mean? And if you get that information going out every single month like clockwork, people are going to see you as constant and consistent and reliable. And that goes a long way to building up your credibility and your trustworthiness. Check that out. All right, speaking of raising capital and finding joint venture partners, if that's what you're interested in doing, I've got the perfect resource for you. It's my book, Money Partner Formula. This goes through my entire process for dialing in your ideal prospective investors, getting their attention, and getting them coming to you instead of you having to chase after them. So to get a copy, the price is right. It's free. I'll trade it to you in exchange for your name and your email address. You can just click on the link in the description below or go to investorattractionbook.com. Go ahead, grab your copy today.